Park Jin-geum is the only son of the single mother Park Sun-young. He is born with a disorder where he had difficulty recognizing his own emotion. One day his mother was murdered and he vowed to find the killer, and later he became a detective. After he became a detective, he came across Professor Yoon Tae-yi, who had the same appearance with his mother. Jin-geum found out that he had the ability to manipulate time in certain conditions, and he also found out that his mother is a time traveler from the future and her real name is Yoon Tae-yi. It is a romantic comedy drama of a couple who is struggling to keep their relationship alive after being married for more than a decade. Choi Ban-do and Ma Jin-do are both 38 years old and they are married for more than 10 years. They have a son. But their relationship seems to reach the endpoint as Choi Ban-do is struggling as a pharmaceutical salesman and Ma Jin-do as a housewife is lonely and feels abandoned by her husband. One day they woke up and find themselves as 20 years old university students. The two are surprised and had no idea how long they will stay in the past. So, they decided to enjoy it and make different choices than they did the first time around. This drama tells the story of a man whose soul travels back in the past and enters into a woman's body. A man from modern day who worked as a chef for a politician finds himself in the body of a woman. He is inside the body of a woman called Kim So-young, who is the wife of King Chol-jong. It is the Joseon era and the king only exists for the name, and the true power is held by Queen Sun-won, wife of the late king. King Chol-jong slowly learned that his queen is not exactly the same as he thinks, and he is curious to the change in the personality of the queen. Kim So-young decided to help King Chol-jong and go up against Queen Sun-won and become the real king. Jung Da-jung is married to 37-year-old Hong Dae-young. They have 18-year-old son and daughter. Jung Da-jung works hard as a rookie announcer and she has a warm heart. She becomes completely fed up with her husband and is unable to deal with him anymore. Hong Dae-young got fired from his job and he is looked down upon by his family. Jung Da-jung hands him divorce papers. Meanwhile, Hong Dae-young looks at himself as an ordinary, jobless middle-aged man. He regrets his life. At that moment, his body changes into that of an 18-year-old person, while his mind is still that of his 37-year-old self. Back in his teenage days, Hong Dae-young was an excellent basketball player and also popular. Now, with his regained 18-year-old body, he changes his name to Ko Woo-young and begins to live a new life. Go Ha-jin is a 25 years old 21st century woman. She is optimistic and cannot stand injustice around her. During a total solar eclipse she traveled back to time and woke up in the body of a girl named Hai-soo. It is in the time of Goryeo era where she met the fourth Prince Wang-soo, who is well known as a wolf dog and is feared by others. He hides his face behind a mask. Hai-soo instantly falls for the 8th Prince Wang-wook, who is a kind and warm-hearted prince. Hai-soo finds herself unwillingly caught up in the palace political fight and rivalry among the princes as they fight for the throne. After the death of his wife, Prince Lee Kak suspected that his wife was murdered. So he decided to form a team and investigate it. During the investigation, Prince Lee Kak and his team is chased by some assassin and somehow they were transported 300 years in the future and arrive in 21st century Seoul. The prince and his team woke up in a rooftop house. Rooftop belongs to Park Ha, who had the same appearance with the younger sister of the prince's wife. Back in the past, Prince Lee Kak get along very well with his sister-in-law, even though he cannot see her face as her face is always covered with a piece of cloth. This drama tells the story of a great skilled medical man from the Joseon era and a beautiful surgeon from the modern-day Korea. Somehow the two people from different era were brought together. Hyo M is a Joseon doctor with great medical skills specializing in acupuncture but fails to climb the social ladder even though he had great skills because of his background as he came from a concubine family. One day because of an incident he is charged with treason and he is chased by the soldier. After being shot by an arrow near a cliff he woke up in the modern-day Korea. He somehow traveled through time when he fell into the cliff. There he meet Choi Yi-kyung, who is a surgeon in modern society, and she do not believe in the traditional medical treatment such as acupuncture. This drama depicts the love story between the warrior from Goryeo period and a female doctor from the present day. Choi Young is a warrior from the Goryeo era and he is very loyal to the king. During an assassin attempt the queen was seriously injured and the king ordered Choi Young to go through the hidden magical door and bring the heavens doctor to treat the queen. The magical door is actually a portal to travel to the future. Choi Young enters the door and comes to the present-day Seoul and meet Yoo Yoon-soo, who is a doctor in modern society. Choi Young take Yoon-soo forcefully to the past and promise to let her return safely to her place after saving the queen. But Choi Young receive an order from the king to let the doctor stay as she can be very useful for the kingdom. "28-year-old Ju Eun-hwa is a resident at a university hospital. He was bullied in high school. He made a suicide attempt but Han Na-bi, a mysterious girl that transferred to his school early that semester, prevented him from dying. However, after telling him to live, she had suddenly committed suicide. Ju Eun-hwa couldn't forget about her for the past decade and one day wakes up to find himself and his old self 10 years ago. It's a week before Na-bi committed suicide. He is the 18-year-old loser he used to be, but he can't miss this opportunity. He has to find out what happened to Na-bi, why she killed herself, and stop her from doing so. Ju Eun-hwa goes through his life as an 18-year-old with the experience of a 28-year-old, changing his gloomy past as he goes. Will Ju Eun-hwa, who went back to the time where he was an outcast, be able to save his first love and have a happy ending? Jang Dan-bi is a high school student with poor mathematical skills. On a rainy day Dan-bi went to a playground and she is suddenly transported to the past in the Joseon era. In the Joseon era she is mistaken for an ouch and stay at the palace as a confidant of King Lee-do. Dan-bi's limited mathematical skills turns out to be one of the most advanced mathematical skill in the entire kingdom of the Joseon era.